Hi, before we start the episode, just so you know, this episode acknowledges the existence of relations, in this case between salmon. Thanks, Julian, for that image that I didn't need. Anyway, I think you're going to enjoy it. If there are little ears around, use your best judgment.
Hi and welcome to another episode of That's Absurd. Please elaborate, the lightly science and even lighter comedy podcast where we talk it's mostly white noise with a few laughs and fun facts thrown in. I am one of your two hosts, usually, Julian Huguet.
And I am the other of the two hosts, which would mean there would normally just be the two, but similar to a lot of other things, sometimes we're wrong.
You haven't said your name yet.
Oh, wait, my name's Trace Dominguez.
There you go.
And then with me as well as Julian is MJ Wu from the podcast Everything is Public Health. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Very excited. I'm also here and ready to go.
MJ, this is the most chaotic intro so far.
Wow.
Honestly, I like it.
It's just going to escalate. You know, the comedy, the rule of heightening improv comedy, it's just going to escalate every episode you guys do.
Wait a minute. You've been trained in comedy? Tell us everything.
No. I took one class. Please don't mistaken this with competency.
Every time I write something on the internet, people post a lot of clown emojis. So I guess, I guess I'm funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love MJ. We were talking before the break and about like MJ's podcast, Everything is Public Health, and MJ's like, "Oh man, excited to be on this show. I listened. Like, let's see how it's done." And then that intro just happened. Anyway, for those of you who are new listeners, unlike MJ, this is a show where we take goofy, weird, absurd, strange questions from listeners and each other. We actually dig into some scientific research if we can find any on the topic, and then we present it to each other in what's hopefully educational and fun. So starting us off this week, Trace Dominguez, you have the first question. What are you tackling?
Yeah, my question comes from Liza, who did send in a voice note. But before we do the question, I'm breaking protocol here, Julian.
Oh boy, here we go.
No.
Before we do the question, I have a little game for you all.
Oh.
Listeners at home, too.
This is different.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to write some things down or, like, open your notes app or whatever. So, like, grab a thing. I'm a pen guy, never a pencil guy. I always do pens, and paper. But whatever. Okay, I want you to write the following things in a column. There are 6 things to, so you have the spacing for your page. English, science, social studies, or history, whichever makes sense for you. Math, or maths, if you're, in the Europes. Art, and then one more school subject that you think is missing from this list, whatever it is. African-American studies, women's studies, maybe, I don't know. Like cultural studies of some kind. I don't know. Whatever you want to add.
I misspelled science.
Honestly, I'm not surprised. Ciencias.
I honestly misspelled.
Wait, what letters did you flip?
This is how dumb I am. I put SCL. What was I doing? I was panicking.
Science. Everybody knows when you're studying science, it's anyway. So you've got your 6.
Experimentation's the most important part of science.
Experimentation is a portmanteau.
Yes, the scientific
process is terrible. Okay, so you've got your 6 things. Now, think of a color for each of those things. Please use a normal color. Don't pick like mauve, but like, black, white, Roy G. Biv colors. Brown and pink are also fine. You could also, try and stick to like normal, I don't know, top level colors. What color would you associate with English? What color would you associate with science? What color would you associate with math? Maybe your 6th one is band, and maybe band you associate with the color pink. I don't know. Don't want to pollute your thoughts. Okay, so now, Kyle, please cue a little bit of 5 seconds of hold music while everybody writes down all of their options, and then we will play Liza's question. Science is really important.
Bill Nye the Science guy.
She blinded me with science. All right. Everybody good? Hold on to that information. Here's our question from Liza.
Hi guys, my name is Liza and I'm in Philadelphia. My question is, what color is English? I thought of this question while I was talking to my friend about folder colors. As a school lover and organizational freak, I like to color coordinate my folders in accordance to the color vibe of the class, and I'm of the opinion that English is obviously red. However, my friend whom I've grown up with was adamant that English was blue. I know that studies have been done in color associations. The one that comes to mind is that red is associated with hunger. I'm not sure, but maybe like I was reading and I was hungry when I was younger. It's sort of unclear. This question brings to mind the impact of schooling versus home life on like a young child's brain, because my brother, who's younger than me and we've never taken the same classes, feels the same as me, but my friend who we've always shared the same classes is adamant that English is blue. Obviously, science is green. That's like a given. But why is there this discrepancy? Thanks for taking my question. Anywho, it's just some food for thought. Love the show.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
Time out.
Yeah, no, I saw. This is great. Okay, don't tell me what colors you've picked yet. Please don't tell me. All right. So, in researching this question, I uncovered what many people probably already know listening to this. MJ is nodding vigorously. That this is a very contentious topic.
Oh, yeah. Wars over lunch has been fought over this.
I only recently found out that this is a thing that people do.
Really?
So my wife, if I haven't talked about her enough, she's going to college right now. She's in her last semester, and she's very meticulous about organizing her notes. And when we were buying notebooks, she'd be like, "Oh, can you pick me up something?" And I'd buy her a notebook, and I'd bring it home, and she's like, "Oh, no, this is the wrong color for this class." And I was like, "Excuse me, what?" And she goes, "No, this is yellow for this science, and that's not right." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" I had never heard of people doing this.
She is correct.
No, but I'm the type of, I don't care what color the folder's in. I'm like, I am
Julian's folders
so messy.
All of Julian's folders are white. Every one of them.
If I didn't have these Post-it notes next to me, I would have written this down on the back of an envelope that's next to me. I'm
Honestly,
so disorganized. I had never considered this was a thing that people cared about.
Firstly, I could not have asked for two more different candidates in this podcast, I think. I don't know MJ that well, but he's very excited about this question. And Julian is completely the opposite. So I think this is great. This is an
total
excellent
apathy.
Sample. Okay, so I found, in doing research for this, there is no, academic science that I could find that connects subject matter in school to folder color. However, there have been surveys done of student populations, and I found two of them, one in the MA Chronicle and one in the Science Survey. MA Chronicle is the paper for the Menlo Atherton High School near Palo Alto. And the Science Survey is a paper, the local school paper for the Bronx High School of Science. So there are two coastal-ish communities of different students, both in, regular, Bronx High School of Science, I don't know if it's a public school or it's a magnet school, I'm not actually sure. And the Menlo Atherton High School is a Palo Alto-based school. One surveyed 100 students, the MA Chronicle, the other surveyed 250 students. They're very different geographically. However, they have some very interesting results when they debated this with their student bodies. So, knowing all of this, math mainly comes down to two different colors according to their surveys, red or blue. Red wins out as 45% of the vote. Blue gets 35% of the vote. MJ is shocked.
MJ has interjections to make.
Incorrect. But continue.
All right, let's get through them all.
Science, we can agree. All of the students in both of the schools said science is green, except for apparently Julian based on his face. But we're going to come back to this in a minute. Social studies was inconclusive with several different colors ranging from orange, purple, yellow, blue, and red. Orange being the number one, purple number two, and they were very close within 1% of the vote. English, the survey indicated a tie of 29% for both blue and yellow, with red being the next closest at 14%. This is all based on the Bay Area Menlo Atherton High School survey. Now, the Bronx Science Survey, interestingly, where Bay Area math was red number one and blue number two, swap it. The Bronx blue number 1, red number 2. They still liked science as green. Social studies had a more determinative value of yellow, specifically, with purple and orange getting around 20% and yellow getting about 26%. A reminder, the Bay Area kids did around 20% for orange and 19% for purple, so still some similarities. English, though, which is that's where we're coming from with Liza. English, again, Bay Area, blue 29%, yellow 29%, red 14%. In the Bronx, red 41%, blue 25%. So really, really interesting. So knowing all of that, MJ, please tell me what color you picked for science, and then Julian.
Okay, after hearing those survey responses, so I grew up in the Bay Area.
Okay. Wow.
That survey must be from a different side of the bay because I do not acknowledge that survey. Maybe I have East Coast blood running in me. Who knew? But my colors, English, red. 100%. I do not accept any other answer for English it being red.
Interesting.
Science is green because green is a very life science color. And I think most people interact with biology first typically when they enter high school. So science is, I think, green.
Yeah.
Math is blue.
Math
is blue. And again, I will not take any other answer. I will not take any other. I mean, I'm not so adamant that if someone gives me a notebook, I won't use it. But I'll still use it. But I would like wince a little bit.
Just hating it the whole time.
Just wince a little bit. Social science, you are correct in that it is sort of like the odd child in the courses family. I went for purple. But I will not object to orange. However, I will object to yellow. I think yellow is a crazy color for social science. Like, way too exuberant. Like, social science is about serious stuff. We're learning about MLK. Junior, I have the dream speech. And you want to put yellow on MLK? Come on.
That's great. That's funny. Okay. What was your sixth? Your fifth, sixth option.
Wait, we have math, art, and.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, art. You're right. Art.
Yellow. Art was yellow for me. It was like a very bright color, very expressive. None of this is based on any sort of objective scientific values.
Of course.
By the way. I couldn't come up with the last one because I'm thinking back to my high school. I'm like, well, physics, chemistry, but that all falls kind of under science. So the one I went for is PE. Because I truly couldn't think of any other
your
subjects.
PE notebook,
and PE I associate with white because our uniform was white. But I think that's more personal.
All right.
MJ taking notes on like basketball strategies and like floor hockey, like drawing up diagrams in his white notebook.
Yeah.
It's really just a whiteboard. It's not even a notebook.
Maybe it's the whiteboard influence. It's like very plain. Yeah.
He only takes notes for that game. He doesn't need notes for the other games. Okay, Julian, from the top, what color is science, English, social studies, history, blah, blah, blah? Wherever you want to start.
I don't want to do this.
Julian, come on.
Look at me in the eye.
Come on, Julian.
I don't want to. I'm scared.
You're going to be wrong at every one, aren't you?
This is gonna. Apparently, I'm just friggin' unhinged.
Okay.
English. Blue.
Nope.
Oh. Okay.
Got. MJ.
Okay, sorry.
Hold all fury till the end, please. Science.
Yes.
Red.
Oh God!
Hold the fury! Hold it!
Okay.
This one will make you feel better. This one, I swear I'm not making this up. Social studies, yellow.
Hey, interesting.
You're gonna label Martin Luther King Jr. as yellow?
I didn't think of him first.
I have reasons that I have uncovered behind each of the colors. So
Sure. Go for it.
Go into it after this.
Oh boy, math. Purple.
I knew it. I knew you were a purple math person. I could feel it as soon as you hesitated.
This feels like astrology to me right now.
Let the record show that I'm pacing around the room.
Yes. Art. White.
A blank canvas to be filled with my creativity.
Yeah, no, that's not what I went with. I'm like, I don't really care for my art class. So, just white. Screw it.
Boring white.
And music.
Oh, okay.
That was a good one.
Green.
Wow. Julian, I don't think you could have been more wrong.
in this question of taste, in this opinion, where nothing has any actual meaning or bearing or value, I am somehow still the most wrong.
I did start it. I don't know if I mentioned that there were no wrong answers. If I did, I take it back.
But
I
found them all.
Wow.
You are. What's that video from Billy Madison where it's like nothing you said had any value, and we're all now dumber for having listened to it.
Oh man.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Let me tell you what I picked, because I also went through and did this prior to the
do
call.
tell.
So, for me, science, green, obviously.
Boo!
Duh.
No,
you're the odd one out here. Don't do this.
MJ, you're not going to be on my side, though, because I did English as blue.
Oh my God.
And I did social studies / history as yellow.
Yes! I have a dream that we won't be judged by the color of our notebooks, but by the contents of them.
Well, I'm Malcolm X in this case.
Oh my God. That's great. Okay, math or maths, red.
Oh.
Which is, again, I don't know what's... And then art, I put as orange.
Okay.
And then for my sixth option, I split physics out separately because we had it separately in our school. Okay. And I didn't think of it as a math class. I mean, it is, but... And I put it as purple. So,
all right.
We all picked different sixth one. That was more just like a fun one.
Yeah, wild card.
Okay, so... Having done this whole exercise, you at home, I hope you've also, shouted a little bit about how wrong we are.
There are people sitting in traffic just having an aneurysm right now.
You can just see them
over
in their cars.
Some people have to pull over for
No,
this.
I could not. What? How could Julian pick purple for for math? Okay, so how do you feel now?
How do
Shame?
I feel? How do I feel?
I don't know.
I feel like I don't know. I mean, everyone goes to, well, not everyone. Most people go to one high school, and that every high school sort of have their convention, I think. So I haven't been exposed to another line of thinking until this moment.
Good point.
But it's technically subjective.
It pained you so much to say that last part.
It really did. I can feel
I guess it's your stupid opinion.
Oh man,
that's great. Okay, so do you remember why you picked red for English? Like what, or Julian, why you picked blue for English? Like what? Did it matter? Julian has already sort of said he didn't care. He is just a chaotic neutral on this one.
I only did because I had to. If I'd been in like a Staples or something and just grabbing notebooks for a semester, I would have just grabbed 5 that were sitting together and then gone home and used them. And that's
What if 2 of them were
or
the
even
same
more
color?
chaotic. One single 5 subject notebook and just use that the whole semester.
Oh, you don't separate out your subjects into different notebooks?
No, and sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I'll put the notes in other sections. And then when it's time to study, I can't find any of it. I still got straight A's.
You're increasing the blood pressure of some of our listeners, I can tell.
God, yeah. How do you survive? Oh, Jesus.
Valedictorian of my college, motherfuckers.
And it's all your chaotic approach is how you achieved it.
Imagine
not systematic studying.
Yeah, imagine if you applied
tried.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Wow, okay. Well, then, MJ specifically.
Sure.
Why is it that you picked red for English? Do you remember? Is it just like that felt right? You know, how'd you get there?
A large part of it, I will admit, is sort of school convention, right? A lot of the English classrooms have red themes. So a lot of it is that. But I've always felt, and this could be a retroactive justification. Sometimes our brains do that when we look back on past events. I've always felt like English is about emotions, right? It's about prose. It's about syntax, and you read things like 1984, you read things like I didn't read the Scarlet Letter, but that's another one, another red, right? But to me, red fills that space of like, we're going to get passionate about something. We're going to like dive deep into the literature. Brave New World, Animal Farm,
wow.
To Kill a Mockingbird. It's all very like emotional. And that's why I think blue as English is unhinged, because blue is a very rational color to me. I don't know why. Blue feels, I mean, it's a cold color, so maybe that's a part of it. But
Interesting.
yeah, but a lot of it is school convention. I think science being green is because biology was the first science class in my high school, at least.
You did sort of explain that when you were talking about green. And I'm going to come back to some of the reasoning generally, but I just wanted to know specifically why you picked red. Julian picked blue because we asked him to pick a color, and apparently that was
yeah, you made me.
In the imaginary staples inside of his head, that was the top color in the folder.
Yeah, I have a mind palace of my nearby staples, and as I walked through it, the blue notebooks were first.
Was the first one?
That's funny. This episode is not brought to you by your local office supply store. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, based on these surveys, what some of the students said who were asked to think about this.
Okay, they got responses. Okay.
Yeah, so the Bay Area students, when it came to science, I think it's the easiest list, except for Julian's craziness. The least debatable one of green. Yeah. Both the Bronx and the Bay Area's students unequivocally, 86% and 79% for Bay Area and Bronx respectively, said science is green. This Bronx sophomore said, Alex was their name, I don't think I need to explain why science is green. Just look at the Bronx Science official school colors, green and yellow.
Okay, yeah.
Then they said, however, the most common theme of a science class is understanding more about the world, to which the world consists of many macroorganisms. The fundamentals of macroorganisms and their interactions is the primary producer, almost all of which are green due to chloroplasts. And I was like, okay, Alex, this isn't an oral exam, bud.
Yeah. That child is smarter than I am.
As I grow older, I realize a lot of child is smarter than I am.
Yeah, same. Definitely.
That kid's definitely better at science than I am.
Yes. Okay, and then a Bay Area sophomore named Gerardo explained, quote, science is green because of biology, and biology is life, which is green. Look, I have to say, Alex was very scientific, but Gerardo, super pithy, very easy to go, clear, concise, done. And I think we can all agree. For me, too, growing up, I very distinctly remember science being a green folder. Maybe not always. Like, I don't know if I was as militant about what colors they were. But also, it was just, I don't know. It was just a green folder. Made sense. Yellow. Now, just as a reminder, the surveys for the Bay Area, yellow popped up under English, it popped up under social studies, and in the Bronx, it popped up under social studies as the number one for sure, and nowhere else. And so it does seem to be associated for many people in these surveys with English or history. Not entirely for everyone, but the Bay Area, Gerardo said, history is definitely yellow because vintage stuff always has a yellow tint. He's like, sepia tones, you guys.
That's actually kind of my line of thinking.
I like Gerardo.
Yeah.
He should be a science communicator. Very,
Interesting.
However, the Bronx's Tamar, I think must be freshman in this case, said, yellow is the math color because yellow is bright in a strong way, and math is barely controlled frustration simmering below the surface. Math is difficult and passive-aggressive and all-consuming. Yellow is the in-between color that always pops up. Yellow, the color you can't escape. The sun, it's yellow. Chemistry, it's math. You can't escape it. I can't escape it. Yellow, 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 math, math, math.
He's going to be a writer, or they are going to be a writer someday.
Is this scrawled in blood in his bedroom wall? Like, what?
Yeah.
The yellow, the sun, it chases me.
It's writing.
Yeah, it was. I was really excited about it.
Yeah. Oh, so good.
Okay, but let's get to the real debate here that Liza has brought up.
Yeah.
As you may remember, so long ago, Liza said English is red.
Correct.
Her friend is adamant that it is blue. And generally speaking, the students agree that English is probably red. Again, the Bronx voted 41% towards red, and the Bay Area only 14% towards red, but 29% tied with blue and yellow. They agree that it is either blue or red. However, I don't know. So the qualitative measure for the red being either math or apparently English, our friend Alex, the sophomore, said, English is a class that is considered a very classic cornerstone of the educational curriculum. True. A common image associated with very classic and uptight classes, teachers, or schools is a shiny red apple. Red is also the color of strong emotion, such as rage and confidence, and these are all strong themes found in the compelling texts of English courses.
Okay, I can see that line of reasoning.
I have a completely different tact, and that is, I wonder if these color preferences were kind of instilled in us in ways we didn't realize when we were young, like early textbooks in a subject were one specific color or another, and then we're retroactively trying to like figure out why we have this preference. But then I also wonder if whoever was making the textbook was like, well, of course, math is purple, so therefore it should be purple, which
that
is what
person got fired. That person did not make a textbook.
Math is purple.
Math is purple.
Just ejected out the third-story window of...
It's the Emperor's New Groove guy falling out the window. Sorry! Except for he's not sorry. He's Julian being like, I don't care!
Fired.
Why is this important to you?
This is abstract anyway. It doesn't make any difference.
Actually, so then there was the Bay Area had a dissent. They said history is red because there's a lot of death in it.
Yeah, did you know that almost all historical figures are dead?
Julian, I just want to, in my script I wrote, fun fact, almost all the people in history are dead.
Yes!
Except the ones who are alive right now.
Yes.
Okay, my response to that would be, to me, purple is the color of death.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah. When I picture a Grim Reaper, they have a black, obviously, but the highlights are purple.
Oh, yeah.
I was thinking they're wearing like a beautiful purple velour kind of situation. Like,
the main color is obviously black, but
purple lip gloss.
Yeah, purple lines through it. Like purple is like a death color to me.
Ooh, love that.
Interesting.
Your death sounds fashion. My preferred quote in the red category is from Victoria, a sophomore who wrote that English is red because many vintage books have red leather covers. To speak to Julian's point, red is a classic color that is perfect for English. There is no right answer to any of these. And again, math, they picked blue, mostly for math, again, or English. And in the Bronx, Layla said, I believe the color blue is fitting for a subject like math. I would truly feel uncomfortable seeing it associated with any other color.
Oh, I agree.
And I was like, Layla, wow. And then the Bay Area's Joanna spoke the dissent here, saying science is blue, which no one agrees with, Joanna. I'm sorry, but science is blue because biology starts with B for blue. Joanna is not a science person, I don't think.
No.
Okay. But life started in the ocean, which is blue. Joanna, I got you.
Great point. She also added, have you ever mixed chemicals together? What do they make? Blue.
Sorry, what chemical is she mixing?
I don't know. I didn't know, but I was like, okay, sure.
With some copper, if you like distill out,
sure, cupric sulfate or whatever.
Blue.
Yeah.
I don't know. In my entirety of high school, I've interacted with copper compound once. So I don't know where it's coming from.
MJ, did you know every chemical is blue?
Every chemical is blue. They're all blue.
Here's a fun fact. And the ones that are different colors are just different shades of blue.
It just reminds me of like the first chemistry that you do as like a kid is like baking soda and vinegar.
Right.
And it just foams and stuff and makes your mom's sink green and she gets really mad about it because you also put green food coloring in it. I messed up. Sorry, Joanna. I should have made it blue. So the author of this science survey piece from the Bronx newspaper, student newspaper, Alvina Rahman, wrote, red is typically associated with anger or frustration, which may lead a student to use red for an academic subject in which they struggle. Meanwhile, Sidney Loftman of the Menlo Atherton Chronicle wrote, and I quote, real division obviously lies within whether math fills you with rage or not. Maybe people pick red because they don't like math. But red is also considered pretty activating. This sort of touches back on the episode we did with Yasmin from a little while ago, where we talked about color theory and red associated with anger and frustration. But we learned in that episode is red doesn't make you feel that way. You might associate red with those things. But like, remember Drunk Tank Pink, like it doesn't make people less aggressive or whatever sitting in a room that's pink. But bottom line to Liza's question is we can all agree that math is either blue or red, and English is probably blue or red, maybe yellow, and I don't know. But
No,
I don't know how yellow came up there. I disagree.
Yeah.
But the next closest color, interestingly, would be purple, which is like a mix of red and blue. So I don't know.
I got a sixth topic that I'd like everybody's input on that we
Okay.
can come up with.
Sure.
Hit us.
Foreign language, right?
Oh,
If English is blue, what if
Yeah.
you're studying Spanish or French?
Spanish
Or
is yellow.
First
Spanish-
instinct, orange. Or
Orange.
foreign language.
Naranja?
What?
Naranja?
Naranja?
Naranja.
Naranja?
Is
Yeah.
that a color? I just genuinely don't know what it is.
It's orange in Spanish.
Okay. I need to learn Spanish.
There you go. Wait, what foreign language did you study in school?
I took the coward's path out and I did Chinese because I'm already fluent. It was a very easy A for me.
That's just a slam dunk. I would happily
it's the
just
coward's
do that.
path, but you know what?
Okay.
I got a free
Okay.
class essentially.
Mandarin, I presume? Mm-hmm. What color was your Mandarin notebook?
I paid
Was
so
it
little
orange?
attention in that class.
Was it
that
Mandarin orange, MJ?
I don't think it was.
Was it red?
It was right there.
I know it was right there, but I was trying to be factual and trying to think about what notebook color I used. I think I paid so little attention to that class because I was already fluent that I genuinely don't know.
I can't believe you didn't associate orange with Mandarin.
Maybe that's why I picked orange for foreign language. Orange for foreign language because that was my experience.
Amazing. Incredible. Wow. Okay. So,
I felt you going for that joke, and I intentionally did not
honestly,
pick it up.
yeah, you misinterpreted Julian here trying to just go for the laugh, and you're like actually trying to do some like scientific
no.
thought. You're like,
No.
let me like do some introspection here.
no.
And Julian's like, no, make the
No,
pun.
Mandarin, orange.
It's right there. It's low-hanging fruit.
Not good with my timing.
That's great. I do want to say, of all of the people that were quoted in these two student papers, the one who was the most wrong was the Bronx science pre-calculus teacher, who said, Carl Friedrich Gauss once said that math is the queen of science and purple is associated with royalty, so math is purple.
Jail.
Incorrect.
Jail.
I think it's just wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude. That's not it.
Yeah.
So...
Well,
the debate
if
is going to
Carl
rage
Friedrich
on.
Gauss said it.
Whatever, dude. That guy's not even important. I don't know who he is. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, just now.
Just kidding. He's very important.
Very important.
So some people associate these choices with a lot of their own importance. But this is a debate that is truly and totally subjective. The closest I could find to any kind of, I'm putting in the biggest quotes, science on this are surveys like this, which are mostly qualitative measures. Qualitative measures are very important. It can be very insightful for how people make some of these decisions, but it's just the decisions. It doesn't tell you if there's any underlying importance to them. You know, I think all of us have brought up reasons why we might have named something or associated a color with a specific subject. Maybe it was the classroom that you were in. Maybe it was a book that you learned it from. Maybe it was because it was frustrating or because you really liked it. Maybe your favorite color is red, and so you really like math, so you want to use it with red. Maybe your favorite color is green, and even though it's for science and your name is Joanna, you're like, no, I'm going to use green for my favorite subject, which is band. And everybody thinks that's weird, but that's fine.
That is fine.
It doesn't matter. Use the one you want. But some people associate this, interestingly, with synesthesia. Comes up a lot, which I thought would be kind of neat to touch on. Do you know what synesthesia is, MJ? Are you aware of this term?
Generally, yes. It's when people experience one sort of sensory experience despite not having the input for that sensory experience.
Wow, well described. Yeah.
Nailed it.
So it's like like a mixing or association of two senses. So you're hearing music, but you're seeing color. You're, tasting something, but it associates with a smell or a feeling. There's a Reddit thread on the synesthesia subreddit, very similar to this question. So the question is math blue or red? And I was like, great. So I went through and I had an LLM help me summarize all of the answers in this thread and just coalesce them into groups. So according to this synesthete, which again, ostensibly is populated by people with synesthesia, but maybe not. Could just be people who are fans. I don't know. Math, red, there were 19 answers associated with red and 84 upvotes of those answers, giving a total of 103 engagements, we'll say, that math is red. Only 78 engagements for blue, although more answers, relatively speaking. And I have to say 18 engagements for yellow, which is super embarrassing for them because I completely disagree. But black, green, gray, purple, pink, and etc. in the group we'll call neither of the red or blue, right? It's red, blue, or neither. 61 engagements. So way more than yellow. Again, embarrassing.
Oh. Yeah, yellow is embarrassing, but continue.
So it is definitely red or blue. Most people seem to agree, which is actually super fascinating.
Yeah,
to me.
it's
like
there's no third choice.
Like it's by a mile. Most people are picking red or blue, and why is that? What is making people choose these? So for synesthetes, I guess math is red or maybe blue or maybe yellow. Ew. Because even if you combine them, like red, blue, and yellow have more answers altogether than neither. It's just like incredibly large. But if you combine yellow with neither, then it's like a tie. Kind of. It's like more of a tie with blue. So it's really red is associated with math, blue next highest, and then blue, yellow, or any other color is probably fine.
Yeah. Interesting.
But Liza's question asked about English, so of course I also did it for English.
Okay.
Because I only picked math and English to look at because Liza is saying like, oh, well, people associate this with this and this with that. So English, we've got 8 answers for red and 23 updates for red. That's a total of 31 engagements. But blue, you ready for this? This is really good. 11 answers, 20 updates for a total of also 31. It is a tie. And English has a tie on this. Now, in the previous group, I broke out yellow, so I broke out yellow here as well. 16 updates, 16 total engagements, 11 updates, 5 answers. And then neither, which is 7 answers with 9 upvotes and 16. So if you combine yellow with neither, again, so it's either red, blue, or any other color wins at 32 engagements. So it's either red or maybe blue or probably not either of those, according to these synesthetes.
So if we're doing parliament, then neither has the plurality.
Yes.
Yeah.
But if we're doing
Yes. I think if we're doing parliament.
if we're doing representative democracy like we have, then red or blue still wins.
Yeah, when you go to
red
runoff.
wins and dismantles the systems of power that got them.
Who's the vice president of color notebooks who can break the tie of the vote?
Definitely need to find them.
If we're
is that
doing
an office?
I think generally speaking, what I took away from all of this is weirdly people do pick red or blue for English and math more commonly than they pick other colors for English and math. However, red is more associated with math than blue. So I'm sorry to say, Liza, it seems there's no science here. However, English appears to be not red.
Liza, I'm with you.
Because math is red.
No, Liza, I'm with you.
Like most people think that math is red. Again, the Bronx Science, 41%. Even though the Bay Area was only 14% with a tie of blue and yellow above that, they were like, math is red. They were not like English is red. The only people that seem to think English is red is the Bronx, I guess. Maybe, I don't know, Liza, where you're from Philly. Maybe that's why. Maybe it's an East Coast thing.
Maybe.
But a lot of the synesthetes associate math with red as well. So, very interesting. I asked a teacher friend of mine about this because there is a discussion of whether or not teachers assign these colors as part of curriculum, right?
Yeah.
Like perhaps national curriculum standards have math as red. And she said, and I quote, "No, it's whatever color the teacher likes usually, or what folders were on sale when the teacher bought them, because it's usually the teacher buying them if they want it color-coded."
We got to pay our teachers more.
We really do.
This reminds me of the pink donut boxes that are kind of like the standard for donut boxes, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard the story about why that is?
Do tell.
It was literally the guy just went to like a box factory and was like, "I need a butt ton of boxes for these donuts," and they're like, "Oh, we've only printed pink ones recently," and he was like, "That's fine, I'll take them." And now that's just like,
That's the donut
the
box.
universal donut box color.
Yeah. So many points in our history is just one arbitrary decision
Yeah.
someone made. And that is the rest
That's
of the
it.
history.
And then we fight each other about it decades later. Can you imagine if somebody was like, "I want my donut boxes to be blue"? The chaos.
Chaos.
The
Julian,
chaos.
that
We're
would be
so
incorrect.
tribal.
No one would do that, Julian.
I would. I don't care about the color of the donut box. I care about the contents of the donut box. Yes,
Sure.
I'm reusing the joke, but I
You really are.
genuinely
It's a good
care a lot about what's in
Donuts?
the donut box.
Me
Yeah.
too. I love
Me too.
donuts.
They're so good.
So I think, Liza, I don't want you to think that you're wrong. You're not. There is no correct answer. However, my teacher friend did say that her brain says English is blue and math is red.
I can't believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's the vice president of color picking, and therefore the tie
Dang
is
it.
broken. Blue with a victory, massive until the next survey gets issued.
I think, honestly, we should just all go back and, Liza, use whatever color you want. If you think,
Yeah. And
if you think,
and if your friends use a different color,
too bad. Get new friends. I don't know.
who cares?
Color folders where I draw my line in terms of friendship.
That's it. Okay, well, Trace, thank you for trying to find as much science on this might be the least science-y question
Agreed.
that we've
Agreed.
gotten yet.
Let's just all do Lisa Frank. A mix of all the colors and probably some kind of unhinged unicorn fever dream. That's fine. Every subject can just be a different mythical animal. Make science pink. Woo!
No,
let's
don't.
do it. There are no rules. Do whatever you want. Then just keep doing.
The meteor's gonna hit us in 20 years anyway.
Make math yellow.
Fuchsia!
History can be red.
Chartreuse!
Make English brown. Julian, give me your best dinosaur roar.
Oh God, an asteroid! It's horrible!
Wow, that was not where I expected that to go. We're popping in before the show to tell you about I Know Dino. It's a dinosaur podcast.
We think of those dinosaurs being this thing that's been dead for tens of millions of years. Even so, studying dinosaurs can still teach us stuff that is relevant to the world today.
Yeah, like climate models to help us understand global warming.
Migration patterns of dinosaur lineages, they tell us about Earth's changing continents.
We can also study dinosaur diets, what plants lived then, and maybe what animals and how they interact.
And, this is super cool, many dinosaur injuries, paleopathologies, they're the first known occurrences of diseases.
And they talk about all this kind of stuff on I Know Dino. It comes out every week with new dinosaur stories that you're not going to hear anywhere else. Like, I hadn't heard of a lot of these, which is pretty cool.
You can find I Know Dino on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever podcasts are. And if you found us, you can probably find them. Go check them out. Whew. Okay, everybody settled?
Everybody breathe.
Everybody, please, MJ, get your hands off my neck. I think we're good. Okay. Okay. Welcome back to That's Absurd. Please elaborate. Now that we've settled that the correct color folder for English is blue once and for all, we're going to go to MJ's. We are going to go to MJ's question. Now, before we do, though, MJ, from the podcast Everything is Public Health, you have a podcast. What's it called again?
Everything is public health.
Okay, right. That is quite an assertion.
It is.
That everything is public health. So when we were all selecting questions before this episode, I challenged you specifically to find a question that I think could not be connected to public health and still find a route back to that. So with that in mind,
Yeah.
MJ, what's your question for this episode?
And I said, challenge accepted is what I said. So my question comes from Anna from Athens, Greece. Humans are amazing, okay, sometimes, at manipulating the characteristics of things that they like to make quote unquote better. Take wolves, for example. The vast variety of dog breeds that we now have are from wolves, or broccoli, sweet corn, and cucumbers. What are the wildest journeys that plants or animals have taken because of us? How much do we actually affect their DNA? Thank you so much for your really interesting podcast. Not my podcast, your podcast. You make cooking and cleaning much more enjoyable. And this is from Anna, again, from Athens, Greece.
I just want to say, the way the question was read, I thought she was saying, we all know that the most dog breeds now come from wolves or broccoli. And
Or broccoli.
like, what?
Yeah, there was a lack of a comma there.
It was sort of written that way, too, to be honest.
I read it verbatim.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I just love imagining
From broccoli, a broccoli dog?
little broccoli dog. Okay.
man, that would be
thank
fun.
you. Just the way it was read caught me out so hard. Okay. Well, thank you for that question. MJ,
Here we
what
go.
say you? What's the wildest journey?
So I'm actually going to tackle this problem backwards. I'm going to tackle Anna's second question first. How much do we actually change their DNA? The DNA between one species to another is actually not all that different. For example, our human closest relative is the chimpanzee or bonobos, depending on who you ask. And so this is a question for the two of you. I think you guys sort of covered this in one of your genetics episode, but question for the two of you. Expressed in percentages, how similar is human DNA versus chimp DNA?
I don't remember the exact figure, but it's like 99 point something.
Yeah, it's like 99.8 or
It's
something like that.
Bonkers
99.9.
close.
It's very close. The correct answer is 98.8. So close to 99%. Very
Yeah,
close.
99%.
This is true for both chimps and bonobos. Like we're all very, very closely related. Another example, expressed in percentages. What is the average difference in DNA between a randomly selected person from another randomly selected person?
Oh, like 99.99. It's
Yeah.
like almost the exact
You got it.
same.
It's
Extremely
yeah.
close. I do wonder, though, when we cite these figures, I think a common misconception about DNA is just how little of it actually codes for anything.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Like, there is a lot of base pairs in between the coding sections. They don't make anything, they don't transcribe anything useful, right? So when we're combining these figures, are we taking in that full genome? Because, if stuff isn't coding for anything, then it's basically inflating the number of base pairs without, actually having any meaningful change. Although that's where, mutations can occur a lot. And, because since it's not coding for anything, if a mutation occurs there, it's not harmful.
Yeah.
So
you're absolutely right. A lot of it is redundant, and these numbers are taking the entire genome as is. So it is a little bit inflated. However, even if you take out the redundant stuff, even if you take that out, the overlap between chimp and human is still well in the 90s.
Okay, that's still amazing.
95s, yeah, still well in the 90s, even if you take out the redundancies. So yeah, the correct answer of difference in DNA between people is 99.9%, pretty much. Very close in DNA overlap between people. And I don't know about you, but this sort of gave me like a blue dot moment, which is, when astronauts go to space, they look at the Earth and they're like, wow, Earth is so small. Like they call that the blue dot moment. And learning about this sort of gave me a blue dot moment, which is the difference between all of us is like 0.1%.
Yes.
Is the difference between all of us. Much more alike than different. Yeah.
Can I get on a teeny tiny soapbox?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't know. Can you?
Yeah,
Is it
probably.
like too
I'd crush
small?
it.
Like you're gonna crush it.
But yes, exactly. Like learning this fact for me exactly was the same realization that like human beings are far, far, far more similar than we are different, and like the fundamental thing that makes a human, is universal, and we all want the same things, and we all have the same needs, and not only across places and cultures and that sort of thing, but also across time. I think a lot of history lessons make a lot more sense when you remember that like the people from 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 1,000 years ago are still working on fundamentally the same platform.
Yeah.
And so like we today are susceptible to the same biases and mistakes and like traps that when we look back, we think we've come so much farther. And I think we're deluding ourselves when we do that. And I had exactly that same. I remember learning this and having that wow moment.
Yeah, you perfectly captured like what that moment was like for me as well. Like humans are humans, and we're much more alike than we are different. But let's look at an example that Anna mentioned. All dogs derive from essentially wolves or broccoli.
Or broccoli.
Or
don't forget. Or sweet corn.
Or sweet corn.
Or cucumbers.
Or cucumbers.
As we all know, the great cucumber mastiff is a beautiful dog.
Yeah, sadly went extinct. But they derive from wolves, or more accurately, proto-wolves that evolves into wolves and dogs, right? We have to remember that it's a common ancestor instead of
what we see now.
Yeah, what we see in some diagrams would tell us. Express in percentages, how much DNA overlaps between wolves and dogs?
I mean, it's got to be high 90s again, like 99 point, and then the decimal figure, I think, is going to be the real difference.
Yeah, 98, 99. Estimates vary depending on, obviously, which breed of dog or wolves you're referring to. But the theme is DNA overlaps so much between species within species that most of it is pretty identical. A lot of redundancy, of course. But these three examples shows that as much as we, humans, could affect an organism's DNA, the difference we're looking at is minuscule. We could create an entirely new species, and we have to some extent, but that difference in DNA would still be minuscule, and therefore very hard to measure specifically how much we have actually affected a species' DNA. In addition, a lot of DNA difference is not visible phenotype difference, but like internal protein difference that you won't even be able to tell like what sort of change is going on. So at this point, I would like to formally apologize to Anna. Unfortunately, I am unable to determine numerically how different some organisms' DNA is compared to their predecessor. I am merely a man with an internet connection, frantically Googling for a few days. Your question, Anna, is a thesis-level question that I'm not equipped to run a full genome analysis for. So, unfortunately, we can't get into the numbers. We're just going to do broad strokes here.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the second half of Anna's question. Going back to the core of Anna's question, what are the wildest journeys that plants or animals have taken because of us? These are all, so I'm going to use Anna's examples, because when I first read that question, my immediate example was, oh, dogs. And then Anna brought up dogs. I was like, oh, okay. Oh, broccoli. And then Anna brought up broccoli. That Anna pretty much took all my first go-to examples away. So
honestly,
we're going to...
it's a problem sometimes. Our listeners are really smart. Sometimes they like sit down and start working on the question for us. And then they're like, this is how far I've gotten. And I'm like, kind of stealing my thunder here a little bit. But like, I love it.
It's very your listeners are very involved, and I really love that. So awesome. So we're gonna just go through Anna's examples really quickly. Dogs. There are new breeds of dogs being defined today. This is an ongoing process of defining dogs. The American Kennel Club, which apparently is an authority in this area, I'll just take their word for it, identifies more than 200 distinct breeds of dogs divided into 7 groups: herding, hound, toy, non-sporting, sporting, terrier, and working. I don't know a lot about dogs, so I have no idea where each breed would sort of slot into these, but the point is there are a lot of different breeds of dogs, and there's actually more breeds than this.
I'm writing these down. What color do you think herding is? Ooh. Sorry, let's not get derailed.
Part two.
There were 7 subjects, I'm just saying.
Herding is orange.
I sense, but save this for later.
Okay.
Yeah, but there are a lot of different types of dogs, and they largely come from a common ancestor. And we achieve this sort of diversity through essentially selective breeding or geographic breeding, right? Different geography favor different types of dogs. Pretty wild journey if you ever seen like a Chihuahua next to a Mastiff, for example, right?
Yes.
Very distinct difference. Broccoli was the second example that I thought of. Multiple vegetables are all derived via selective breeding from one plant, Brassica oleracea. I'm pretty sure I butchered that name, but also known as wild cabbage. First, looks nothing like cabbage. So whatever image of cabbage you have in mind, that is not what wild cabbage looks like. Second, Here's a list of all the types of vegetables that you may know that are all derived from wild cabbage. Are we ready?
Yes.
Ready.
Every cabbage in the supermarket. So there's different, red cabbage, whatever.
All the
Every
cabbage.
Makes sense.
All the cabbage is derived from wild cabbage.
cabbages.
Collard greens, 4 types of kale, gailan, Brussels sprouts, kohlrabi, a very niche one, broccoli, obviously, cauliflower, broccolini, and Romanesco broccoli. They're all derived from this one plant via selective breeding.
Wow.
That's cool.
Incredible.
What? The other plants, why haven't they diversified their portfolio as much,
Yeah, geez, other plants. Keep up
Yeah,
with
slacking off.
Honestly.
Brassica oleracea.
What do you got, potatoes? Oh, like 4 different colors? Ooh.
Yeah. We're actually going to get into potatoes in the future. That's a good
I can't wait. I
foreshadowing.
love potatoes.
Love
Foreshadowing.
potatoes. Yeah, so again, I think the clearest case, or one of the most iconic case of selective breeding when it comes to plant is wild cabbage. We basically selectively bred like a part of a plant to be more expressive. The third example Anna provided, sweet corn, or for the Americans, corn. Maize, the technical term, derives from the common ancestor of Teosinte. I think I pronounced that right. Teosintes. Maize, sweet corn, or corn, can't even reproduce without human intervention. It is largely a human crop. There is no quote-unquote wild corn in that sense because it physically cannot reproduce without human intervention.
Wow.
However, it is
Kinky.
old. It was domesticated by indigenous people in Mesoamerica 9,000 years ago. So as much as it is, domesticated, it's old in a sense that we've domesticated it ages ago. Our best understanding for what corn originally looks like is Teosinte, which is much smaller. The kernels are much tougher, less exposed, and definitely not bright yellow. Bright yellow is a very recent invention when it comes to corn.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I encourage listeners to look up Teosinte, wild cabbage, and dogs just to see like the variety and just the difference that we have taken these plants and animals. Cucumber. Again, after Anna said dogs, broccoli, and corn, I'm like, surely she doesn't know about cucumbers.
That's where you're
Does she? Wild cucumbers have spikes. Modern cucumbers
Wait, what?
I didn't know about that.
Wild cucumbers have spikes. If you get a normal cucumber, you see that they have dots on the surface.
What?
In wild cucumber, each of those dots are spikes.
Oh my gosh,
No
an
way.
angry cucumber.
Yeah.
Wow.
Angry cucumber. Modern cucumbers were domesticated 3,000 years ago. So while we have domesticated them, they are still very old in a sense that we've domesticated them, again, ages ago. So it doesn't feel like they're new. Yeah, these plants look very different from their wild counterpart, but it doesn't mean that the changes aren't new, like I've said. Humans have been selectively breeding before they even know how genetics work. It's sort of the conclusion of this section. Something I think is worthy of a discussion. How do we know what things look like in the past? That's a genuine question. How do we know what things look like in the past?
Time travel.
I wish, actually, I feel like humans would not handle the power of time travel wisely, so I kind of don't want time travel to exist.
We can't be trusted.
No.
Time capsules. Somebody
that's much better. Yeah,
years
time
ago.
capsule is much better.
Yeah, that's time travel to the future at a 1-to-1 speed.
I love that. I mentioned this because it has to do with a common misconception people have about how evolution works. Humans did not evolve from chimps. We share a common ancestor. In other words, we don't know what things look like in the past without looking at fossils or, like Julian suggested, documentation. Our best effort is finding a similar species that is still wild and untouched by humans, but we need to understand that that species also went through evolution. They didn't get, lock into place.
Right.
And then they also evolved, but they're just the closest wild relative to what we have domesticated. So, we don't really know what the past version of cucumber looks like. We just know what wild cucumber looks like today, and that's sort of our best estimate.
But with artificial selection that we do as humans with these, breeding plants and crops and animals and stuff, we can make them change much more rapidly than they probably would. If
of course.
Left to natural selection.
Yeah, hence the spikes on cucumbers, right? We can make them very different. And
Russian fox experiment.
Yes.
Right.
Which I believe we've mentioned on the podcast before. But
yeah, you have.
Yeah.
I forgot which episode, but you guys definitely have.
Oh,
but,
I don't remember.
surprisingly quick. how fast.
It took a very few generations before the fox started to adapt with different ear morphologies, different like face morphologies. They were more friendly, all sorts of stuff. And it only took, I can't remember, like 7 generations or something.
Yeah,
which
very
is like
little time for that to happen.
Yeah, when we look at like the wild existing things today, you're right. It's not necessarily exactly like it was in the past, but probably hasn't changed as drastically as what we
that is our point of comparison. And because these domestication took place thousands of years ago, we don't have records to show what they look like initially.
Unless we have, like, have you ever seen medieval drawings of, like, animals from faraway places where somebody describes what a lion looks like, and whoever
love those.
whatever medieval monk is, like, drawing this in their, priceless book that'll be in the library. It's like a 4-legged dog with a human face, and they're like, there, a lion.
All right. Where you coming from? You coming in from India? What'd you see over there? Let me write it down.
Oh, man.
Oh, he's got a big old head, is he? Okay, gonna put it like a big old head.
Yeah.
he's got fur around his head. Oh, okay, I'm gonna put fur around his head.
Aaron, that's not what a lion looks like at all.
I don't know what a lion is. I just live in me mud hut with my 3 sticks.
I'm just
How big is the head? Wait, don't tell me. I'll guess.
I'm not asking any follow-up questions.
No, I'll just use my imagination to fill the gaps. So back to Anna's question. Those are all Anna's example, which, again, very wonderful examples. The 4 most obvious examples that I came up with, but unfortunately I can't use because Anna already took them. So the wildest journey, there are 2 sort of categories we could decide, like intentional or unintentional, right? Intentional being selective breeding. Now we have access to something called GMO, which is even more powerful than selective breeding because physically change a particular gene. So let's look at the bigger group, which is the intentional group. And I'm just going to say almost every plant or animal we eat or use is somewhat unrecognizable from their original wild form to a certain degree, because that's how good our selective breeding has gotten. For example, oranges, lime, grapes, lemons. Straight up, they do not exist in nature. They're fully man-made hybrids. There is no such thing as a wild orange. There's no such thing as a wild lime, lemon, or grapefruit. Oranges, sweet oranges, are a cross between a pomelo and a mandarin. Oranges do not exist in the wild. However, this happened, again, hundreds of years ago, so it's not new.
Yeah.
Have any of you taken a look at a wild banana?
Yes.
Oh, look
They are
unpleasant.
weird looking.
Unpleasant to eat.
Not gonna want to eat it. It's full of little seeds.
Hold on, let me just type wild banana into Google and see
no
what
problem.
I get. Oh, it's surprisingly the fruit. Okay, wow, that does look different.
It's real weird looking.
Yeah, the seeds are huge, like massive marble-sized seeds. Yeah, that's our closest assumption for what a wild banana used to look like. And now, speaking of banana, this is sort of a tangent. I won't stay on this too long. The banana we have now is one of the largest monocultures in the world. There is one type of banana, the Cavendish banana, because a fungal plague wiped out the previous types. So they had to selectively breed a more resistant type of banana called the Cavendish. And
R.I.P. Big Mike.
R.I.P. Gros Michel was the previous one. And now they're saying that the fungus in response to the Cavendish has evolved. So we're a little close to a banana apocalypse if we don't figure out something. But that's sort of like a tangent. Yes, Julian.
Did you know, apparently, you know how artificial banana tastes nothing like our bananas today? Apparently, it is closer to what old bananas
the Gros
used
Michel,
to taste like. Yes.
Yeah. That's why
bonkers.
Banana Apocalypse is a really good band name.
Banana Apocalypse.
Banana
someone take
Apocalypse.
it. Or maybe we should take it.
Yeah, we're going to.
Yeah, but it's one of many examples of monocultures that we have in our modern agricultural practice. Rumor has it, we got to do something quick with the banana if we want to preserve it.
Yeah.
Watermelon. The iconic watermelon still life painted by Giovanni Stanchi in the 17th century shows just how different a watermelon is merely a few centuries ago. I'll give you guys a few seconds.
Oh, whoa, it's freaky
Wow.
looking. That's a freaky looking watermelon.
It is. I encourage everyone to look this up. And
We'll put it on our Instagram. Yeah, we'll put it on our Instagram.
do you want to know the second part of this fact?
Yeah.
That watermelon, as ridiculous as it looks, was the domesticated one.
Oh, wow.
So the wild one, look up. The most close wild counterpart is Citrillus eruhosus, Citrulus space Ecirrhosus. That is the closest actual wild watermelon counterpart. It is bitter. It has almost no flesh.
Okay, it looks greenish gray on the outside. That looks totally normal.
Now find one that's cut open.
Oh, weird.
Yeah,
It's
white.
all. It looks like a weird looking fruit, like just
no
a regular
flesh.
old fruit. It's all
Just
white. There's a bunch of little black seeds in there.
Yeah.
Where's the delicious red innards?
Not I don't think that's what the common ancestor for what watermelon used to look like. Even the iconic still life by Stanchi was a domesticated watermelon already. So that just shows you how far the watermelon has come from its wild counterpart.
When was that painting, that still life painting, done?
17th century.
Do you think there were 17th century, like, crunchy granola people that were like, these domesticated foods, what's with them being pink? That can't be healthy.
And let's eat the white bitter.
Not giving that to my kid. I don't know.
Weird.
Oh, man. I feel like that group exists every era of human history.
What about, we talked to humans?
Yeah.
Not that different.
Not that different.
Across time and space.
History repeats itself for a reason.
I would not be shocked if there were some people back then who were like, have you seen these new watermelons that Aaron's growing over there in the mud pit?
Come try me watermelons.
They're red for some reason.
I put all of my life savings into these watermelons.
Terrible choice.
I invested all free sticks.
You're never going anywhere. But watermelon's another iconic example. Avocados, wild avocado is more seed than flesh. So just imagine an avocado with the seed goes right up to the edge. That's what a wild avocado looks like.
It's not even avocado shape.
Oh my! How expensive would they be?
Yeah.
Yeah,
oh my God, they'd be the same price for less avocado.
Yeah. So the price per guacamole extra Chipotle would be astronomical.
Astronomical. Rice, very tough and small. I'm just going to go through a bunch of these, and then we'll get to sort of the core of this, because there's so many examples.
That's a good plant joke, getting to the core of this.
Unintentional, but I'm glad you caught it. Rice look very different. They're tough and small. Potatoes, very, very tiny. Like the russet potatoes you see in supermarkets, that's like 5 times the size of what they used to be like. Apples are kind of like dogs. There's so many different types of apples. Like you don't even understand.
Talk about monocultures, though. Apples, like the way you get a specific type of apple, you can't just like plant a seed from a Red Delicious and grow a Red Delicious. It'll grow a totally randomized like fruit. You have to graft a sprig from whatever tree you're growing onto the new sapling to get that
a lot
type
of our agriculture is done through grafting for this exact reason, because they want consistency.
Yeah,
they don't want like a bunch
wine
of wild
is like
apples.
that too. They graft the grapes that they like onto like a Lambrusco rootstock. It's also more aphid resistant. Really interesting.
Yes, it's for many reasons. So many different examples of monocultures in the world. Actually, most of what we eat is kind of a monoculture to a certain degree, because they want consistency and they want volume. The GMO examples are even more ridiculous, but oftentimes GMO is used to improve a crop's resiliency. So it's internal. Like we don't see the phenotypical effect of GMO, less visually striking. A lot of major crops are monocultures because of GMO as a tool, played an instrumental role in keeping them alive with new pests and disease. So if you want to save the banana, it's probably going to be some form of GMO to save the banana.
Mangoes had a big problem with some sort of fungal infection and basically had to be saved with genetic engineering.
Yeah, incredibly important tool. We would not be here without GMOs. Like there would be so many famines if GMO wasn't a thing. And
golden rice, huge.
Yeah.
Huge for
thing.
People in poorer countries. Massive.
For sure.
Resistant. And it's gonna get more important in the future.
Climate crisis.
Yeah, we're gonna need to breed plants that can live in a place that's hotter and drier or wetter,
or the opposite, right?
Flooded sometimes. Yeah.
Few examples that's a little less common. Faster growing salmon. Tomatoes that ripen slower, so they have longer shelf life, so they don't ripen as quickly. Pigs, and this is weird, pigs that digest phosphorus better. So they poop less of it out. So they need less of it because we're running out of phosphorus. Is another thing that we're running out of.
Didn't know that.
Cool.
New worry to
Great.
have.
New
Thanks.
worry.
Thanks, MJ.
Add it to
New
the
thing
list.
to worry about.
Added to the list of
Perfect.
things. Existential crisis.
Yeah. And we're running out of phosphorus.
We're running out of phosphorus.
No.
Very important.
I want to see the
fertilizers.
person who's out in the streets with a sign.
We're running out of
You know,
phosphorus.
we're running out of phosphorus. Save our phosphorus.
Make GMO pigs. That's one solution. This one you guys probably heard before. Cows that fart less. Another, try to combat the methane. Goats that milk spider webs.
Heard of that?
Yes.
Heard of
famous.
that. Also very
Definitely.
famous
Example.
because spider
Very
web
famous.
is very, very interesting material and they want more of it. And spiders make it too slowly. So they gave it to goats. Outside of food, there's a lot of examples. Again, very quickly. Goldfish, the common goldfish you get at a pet store, from a carp.
Yeah.
From a gray carp. If you look at the carp is so gray that it's hard to imagine that it went from this gray carp to a shiny Pokemon looking thing in like a few
Yeah,
generations.
they're real weird looking.
A shiny Pokemon that nobody likes.
Oh,
Until it
it
evolves.
turns
Yeah.
into a dragon.
Yeah. What's that meme of like the Magikarp? It's like, I
Yeah.
swear to God, once I evolve, I'm gonna kill all you.
I'm gonna kill all of you. Oh man. Another thing that people don't think as much about when it comes to selective breeding, lab mice and lab rats. For
Yeah.
research purposes, they have to be selectively bred to have this almost the same genetics as each other. For neuroscience research, immunology research, allergen research, they are the control essentially. So they can't differ that much from mice to mice. So all of our lab rats and lab mice are selectively bred or somehow GMO'd in some way for consistency reasons. They would not survive in the wild. So a lot of animal activists that break into labs to release these lab-raised animals, they're going to die within days. Even their microbiomes are not suitable for dealing with real pathogens in the world. So just like a PSA out there.
Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Do not release mice from labs willy-nilly.
Yeah. Also, they might carry diseases. So just...
Well, there's that.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're going to be here all day if we talk about everything that humans ever domesticated. So I'm going to change my approach. Anna asked for the wildest journey. Everything we described above, we've selectively bred for a practical purpose in mind. More or less, right? We want fruits with more flesh. We want crops with higher yields. We want more resiliency, more flavor, so on and so forth. But what if we selected for a trait just because we want to prove something? Mm-hmm. Just because we want to break a record?
Like make the smallest dog breed possible, right?
That's
Even
what.
if
Or,
they shake all the time and their
largest pumpkin.
eyeballs are popping out of their heads. Yeah.
or colloquially speaking, what if we selectively bred something for the lols? What are some things that we have selectively bred or for ostensibly no practical reasons? I think you guys listed a few of them already.
The correct answer is the pug.
Yes.
It's the pug. The correct answer. That is
the pug. So there's also a lot of examples for these. I picked one that I found the most like just because somebody wanted to. Like there's very little practical reason why he did this. My pick for the wildest journey a plant has gone through because of us is Pepper X, the current recognized record holder for the hottest pepper created by Ed Curry.
Oh, yeah. His last name is Curry?
His last name is Curry.
even better.
Oh, my
I was
word.
I was like, do people know this?
This thing sits at a dangerously hot 2.69 million Scoville units, beating second place Carolina Reaper by more than 1 million Scoville units, more than double of ghost pepper, and more than 100 times than serrano peppers.
Wow.
People have hallucinated from eating this because of how hot it is.
Like that Simpsons episode where he has
Yeah.
the chili and runs off into the desert and the moon turns into a coyote?
Yeah, it's...
That was a documentary.
Apparently.
Ed Curry did this pretty much for fun. I mean, he had some motivation in, because he likes pepper. He wants hot peppers. And I think at one point was trying to explore pepper's health benefits, like capsaicin's health benefits. So he had some practical purpose. But this was fully a personal hobby when he started. And he quickly fell into a rabbit hole and became a selective breeding expert when it comes to pepper. And at some point, he just said to himself, how hot can I make this thing? And thus, the Pepper X was born. And we are here today with a pepper so hot that, honestly, it's not fit for anything else besides a prank.
I'm imagining a Jurassic Park, but with peppers, right?
Oh,
Where
man.
somebody, like, we've genetically engineered the hottest peppers, and then, like, they break the gate, then, like, the peppers are, like, loose.
They sound like the screaming goats,
Just
right?
because you could.
It sounds like the screaming goat.
Never stop to think and ask if you should.
Yeah, but peppers essentially went from, we will be a bit spicy to deter being eaten. That's what the defense mechanism the plant came up with, to, this thing is so hot, you need to be hospitalized if you eat this by accident.
Pepper's like, I'm not messing around anymore.
Yeah. So that's my pick for the wildest journey, because it's one man. Like, this is not like some organization. This is not a bunch of scientists trying to figure this out. This is one man started in his backyard saying, how hot can I make this thing? And he did it. He made the hottest pepper in recorded history. And it's kind of awesome, but also very scary.
Unbelievable.
So,
Wow.
Fantastic.
So Anna, that's my submission for the wildest journey. The name of the show that I make is called Everything is Public Health. And when we are picking topics, we explain this. I don't know.
Right. I almost forgot about this bit. I was so enthralled by the murder pepper.
The murder pepper.
MJ, how is this somehow related to public health?
I said challenge accepted is what I said. So we talked about the intentional ways. There are a bunch of unintentional ways that humans have changed plant and animal evolution. We're currently living in the Anthropocene, the geological era where humans have the most substantial impact on the planet, including the evolution of other species. So a few examples. Pollution is driving some fish to develop resistance. And the example that I found was in the Hudson River, which used to be some of the worst water in
Well, yeah, it had a
American
bunch
history.
of dead bodies in it. Like,
Oh yeah, very
from the
bad.
mob.
PCB was one of the substances that was released into the Hudson River, and they found fish near the Hudson River that evolved something to eat PCB inside,
Oh, wow.
so they could, survive better in that awful, awful water. The Hudson is better now, or so I've been told. So, not sure.
It seems nice when I drove by it yesterday. It seemed
Did you
nice.
jump in?
I just would not.
Another textbook example of evolution that's unintentional is the moth example. Industrial Revolution Britain, the soot in the air was so bad that moth turned color so that they could hide better against the soot. And there's, I think another very classic examples, bed bugs, cockroaches, and ants, or any insects that we consider pests. They are waging like their own chemical warfare against like our insecticides. Like they just get better and better at surviving them. And this is another classic evolution by war of escalation, sort of like one side gets better, other side gets better. Now, this is slightly into the public health angle. These insects sometimes carry disease, sometimes, not all the times, but sometimes they carry disease. And a lot of disease are insect-borne disease. These act as vector. And as we sort of engineer these chemical warfare against them, they are also evolving in response to that and becoming harder and harder to kill, and therefore easier and easier to spread disease. On top of climate change is changing the weather pattern in the world, and a lot of insects that used to be in one area is now migrating to another area in response to climate. So you are now getting, for example, Lyme disease in states that previously did not have Lyme disease because the ticks are moving.
Yikes.
This is another example, a public health angle for this. But this is like, okay, this is more about insect migration. This is not about DNA change. It's like, okay, my pièce de resistance of this is how to tie this back to public health is antibiotic resistance. This is a significant public health problem. Antibiotics save billions of lives in human history, but due to overuse and poor stewardship, it means bacteria are now responding to those increased selective pressures. And it's a tale as old as time, a war of escalation. Antibiotics kill bacteria, but through sheer luck, some bacteria have resistance against them, and they survive, reproduce, and some of them transfer the trait to other bacteria. There's like a genetic material can be exchanged between bacteria.
Yeah.
And
bacterial sex with the little
kind
the
of,
sex
yeah. It's their version
of
bacterial sex.
So bacterial DNA is really fascinating.
They are.
Along with the main big ribbon of DNA, the nucleoid, they have like little rings called plasmids that they can just like trade with each other. They can just like link up. So it's like, imagine like...
they're like getting married.
Yeah.
With this ring, I the antibacterial.
But imagine like you had a trait and like your partner didn't have that trait, and then you hooked up, and then your partner got that trait. You know,
that would be pretty amazing.
Like
actually.
the ability to load the dishwasher.
Yeah. Oh no.
Oh my god.
We already fought.
Yes.
We already had a knockdown, drag out fight on folder colors. Let's not do
Let's not bring
dishwashers.
dishwasher.
Let's bring dishwashers into this.
But the WHO recognized multi-drug resistant bacteria as one of the leading public health threats because as soon as we lose antibiotics, it's going to be very scary.
We're in trouble.
Yeah, we're in trouble. There's even an acronym for the top 6 called ESCAPE, which is I think is a cool acronym. ESKAPE, which Enterobacter, Staphylococcus aureus, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Actinobacter baumannii, Pseudomonas aeruginosa, and Enterobacter. These are the 6 that people are watching the most closely in terms of how bad some of these have gotten in terms of multi-drug resistance. But yeah, like that's my attempt to tie it back to public health, which is humans, whether intentional or unintentional, they change things and things will change in response to them. And one of the things that is definitely a public health issue is how bacteria is responding to our antibiotic use, or in our case, overuse.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, yeah, I did it.
You did do it. You did in fact do it. Congrats.
Congratulations.
I mean, I feel like we already touched on that angle a little bit, and even without having to go specifically when we talk about the way that we've modified things to prevent like famine.
Yes,
with food. That's huge already. But thank you for the extra credit bonus answers.
Glad to be here.
Let's take a quick break, and we'll come back with our last question of the episode from Julian. All right, welcome back, everyone, to That's Absurd. Please elaborate. I think that we should all take all of our antibiotics and talk about our antibiotics in our green folders. But that's just me. What about you, Julian? What is the question that you are going to tackle today to add to our crazy learning?
So my question this week comes from MJ, actually, whose suggestion for a question was, quote, permanent sunscreen? Question mark?
Question mark?
Unquote.
Question mark?
So, MJ, since you're here, why don't you elaborate on what you're thinking with this question?
As a public health person, yes, I know sunscreen is important. Yes, like we gotta protect ourselves.
Wait, MJ, host of the podcast Everything is Public Health, is sunscreen related to public health?
It absolutely is. Skin cancer is so common in this country. And it's one of the most effective ways to prevent skin cancer is just, I like to prevent skin cancer by just not being in the sun. But if you have to be in the sun, you go ahead and lather on that sunscreen. And as someone who is in public health, you're supposed to I need to set a good example and put on sunscreen. But I don't know, I sweat a lot. I don't know about you guys. It gets icky and then you have to reapply technically. And I kind of just don't want to do it. A lot of times I opt to wear long sleeves instead of put on sunscreen for that reason. So I thought, what if I just have to do it once?
It's permanent.
Interesting.
Sunscreen. My old boss at Discovery News used to say, there is only one absolutely 100% known carcinogen. UV exposure from the sun.
The sun.
No one will argue that UV exposure will cause cancer.
Yeah, that is true.
Wear sunscreen.
Well, you say that, but I'm sure somebody's going to try. Okay.
That's true. Yes, there would be people who would argue.
Let's get into it, though, because yes, MJ, you're right. An estimated 20% of Americans will develop skin cancer during their lifetimes. So it is the most common form of cancer in the country.
Very common.
And a big risk for skin cancer, a big risk factor, is ultraviolet radiation from the sun. So, of course, as always, whenever we bring up the electromagnetic spectrum, we got to dive into it a little bit. Ultraviolet radiation is wavelengths of the electromagnetic spectrum that are smaller than that of visible light. So purple, indigo, violet, whatever color you want to say, whatever your math folder is. that has a wavelength of about 400 nanometers, right? Below that wavelength is where you get into the UV spectrum. And UV is broken down into 3 subtypes. You've got UVA, which is 315 to 400 nanometers. Because it is the longest wavelength UV light, it is the least energetic. It can penetrate deep into the skin. It's associated with signs of aging, like wrinkling, because it damages collagen. It's also the main cause of melanoma, the most invasive skin cancer with the highest risk of death.
Cool.
Yeah, so you want to protect against UVA. By the way, reading this as somebody who's very pale with a lot of moles kind of scared me because I did not realize just how dangerous melanoma was until I looked into it. Do you have any particular insight? Because you're nodding your head, MJ.
Besides the fact that they're very dangerous, I think that's my only insight. Is that we should avoid them at all costs.
It's
go to a dermatologist, have them look at your moles.
Yes, it can spread, fairly rapidly within months and become quite dangerous. As a matter of fact, as a hockey fan, there's a story I love. I don't know if you heard about this, but about 3 years ago, there was a game between the Seattle Kraken and the Vancouver Canucks, and there was a woman behind the Vancouver bench. She was a Seattle fan, and she was looking at a mole on the back of the assistant equipment manager's neck. Her name was Nadia Popovici. She was looking at Brian Hamilton's mole, and she was ready. She was about to go to med school, so she, had a curiosity for these things. She knew what melanoma looked like, and she's like, that's melanoma. And she tapped out on her phone and held it up to the glass as he was going into the locker room after the game. She's like, you have melanoma, you have cancer, you need to get that looked at. And they interviewed him after, and he's like, I was a little offended at first, especially, it's like an away fan, right? You think you're getting heckled. Then he went to the doctor.
Wow, she's really going below the belt
here. He went to the doctor, and the doctor was like, if this had gone any longer, you might have died.
Yeah. Very serious. Cool story.
Wow.
I love that story. So amazing. And nice, moment where,
humans helping humans out.
Americans
love
being
that.
nice to Canadians. What a time that was 2 years ago. Anyway.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry.
Oh,
man. There's reality, and then there's reality.
Now, on to UVB. So, that wavelength is 280 to 315 nanometers. It's higher energy, therefore. It affects the outer layers of the skin and leads to sunburns and tans and other types of cancers like basal cell carcinoma and squamous cell carcinoma. And finally, there's UVC, which is 100 to 280 nanometers highest energy, but it is completely absorbed in the ozone layer of the Earth. So if you're down at the beach, only have to worry about UVA and UVB. Now, question for you, because I made an assumption.
Okay.
How is it, do you think, that UVA or UVB damages DNA and leads to cancer?
Ooh, interesting. It's a radiation, kinda.
Yeah.
So
I would think it would.
does it just go through?
Is it when I think of things damaging DNA, I think of a specific type of radiation, which is ionizing radiation.
Ionizing.
Right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's the mechanism by which UVA or UVB damages DNA?
Interesting.
Is
No.
is UV not ionizing? I don't think it's ionizing.
I was shocked because I assumed it was, and it's more complicated than straight up yes or no.
Okay.
Because when we talk about ionizing, part of it depends on what we're ionizing, which
That's
as soon
true,
as I
yeah.
read that, I'm
Right.
like, oh, duh, of course, right?
Yeah.
Like certain elements, certain molecules are going to do a better job of hanging on to those electrons than others. And that's what ionizing something is, right? You remove an electron, you give it a charge, you turn it into an ion. The wavelength, the radiation needs to have enough energy to excite that electron enough that it fully leaves whatever atom or molecule that it's orbiting around, right?
Yeah.
But if you ask the FCC, okay, at what point would you say ionizing radiation actually starts? That's at about 10 electron volts of energy, if the photon has that much energy, and that corresponds to a wavelength of 124 nanometers, which is in the UVC range. Not UVA or UVB.
So how is UVA and UVB doing the damage?
Yes. Good question, Trace. Thank you for asking.
Do tell.
So UVB light does affect DNA directly. And the way it damages DNA actually is it keeps the nucleotides, the adenine and thymine, or the guanine and cytosine, the nucleotides that come together to form those rungs of the DNA ladder that we're all familiar with. It keeps those from actually being able to bind, and it causes the DNA to kink. And this kink keeps the DNA...
It makes your DNA kinky.
Yeah, it makes your DNA all kinky.
No kink shaming, but...
Unless it's
bad.
DNA.
Yeah, unless it's DNA.
Right.
No
DNA.
kinks.
No kinks, because then, when the little proteins try and transcribe the DNA, when they get to the kink, they can't actually transcribe it. And so it interferes with protein synthesis. Or it can also cause the base pairs to change. It can flip like a cytosine to a thymine, which is the most common way that it changes mutations in the DNA. But yeah, apparently just keeping the DNA from being able to come together and form that double helix is damaging. UVA, on the other hand, damages DNA indirectly. So it actually reacts with molecules that react to light that eventually leads to the production of something called singlet oxygen, which I had never heard of. Have you, MJ?
It's either a single oxygen or an oxygen with an odd number of electron. I don't know which one would be correct.
You're kind of on the right track with the second one. It's still
O2.
like an oxygen molecule.
Okay.
But the electron pairing in the oxygen's electron shells changes. And instead of having like one electron in the last two orbitals, one of those electrons pairs up, its spin changes, and it moves into the other orbital, and then you have a completely open last orbital can then take electrons from things like your DNA.
Which is bad.
Yes. And
That's
so
bad.
then your DNA is getting oxidized, but not directly from the UVA radiation. It's like a
because of
long,
the
winding
oxygen.
road to get there. Yes. Which I thought was really fascinating. I don't know if it helps at all,
fascinating.
That is
but
neat.
it's
I've
cool.
never heard of that. That's
Very
bad.
cool.
Okay.
Terrible.
Bad.
Just, terrible. That was just a real insight into how scientists
It's like learn something awful.
Yeah,
It's like,
and then
wow.
it makes this unique version of oxygen that totally screws up your DNA.
And we're like,
and the
great.
three of us are like, wow, that's so neat.
What's the Futurama moment where like Fry and Zap Brannigan are going to have death by snoo snoo and their faces keep switching between like happiness and horror? Do you know the one I'm talking about? I think about that
I
a
don't.
lot.
But I do love
Anyway.
Zap Brannigan. I made it with a woman, Kiff, and formed the men.
Anyway, yeah, it's that alternating like, wow, cool, oh no. All right, so
I love Zap Brannigan.
the best. What was it? 60% Shatner and 40% Captain Kirk, I think is how the actor described how
Perfect.
he approaches the role. Okay.
That sounds about right.
Okay. So now let's talk about why sunscreen is important for keeping that not happening and how we're all kind of collectively fumbling the bag when it comes to wearing sunscreen enough. So a 2015 study in the Journal of the American Academy of Dermatology looked at how many men and women routinely use sunscreen. No bonus points for guessing who uses it more.
Oh, God.
MJ,
Yeah.
who's gonna use sunscreen
I am
more
part
often?
of the stats.
14.3% of men routinely wear sunscreen when they're outside for more than an hour, compared to 29.9% of women.
Oh,
so
it's also low.
yeah, also low,
Yeah.
but still twice the rate of men.
Yeah, that's
No surprise here that women are taking.
Are they
the
counting
skincare.
like lip balm, which sometimes has
Or
SPF
like
in
makeup?
it, or like
Good
makeup,
question.
which sometimes has SPF?
Good question.
So,
No, I think they're
I don't know.
looking at because we're talking like full body
Right.
coverage.
Yeah, makes sense.
Not just your face.
Because, some men, some women will wear both of those items, either makeup, lip balm, whatever, every day. So
That's a cop out though, I think, in terms of sunscreen use.
yeah, it is. The numbers seem too low to include something like makeup, which a lot of makeup does
Yeah.
contain.
And the
is true.
question was specifically when they're going outside for more than an hour.
Okay. Then
Like they're
probably
going,
full sunscreen.
not
Yeah.
just their day to day, right? Okay. So there are two primary types of sunscreen. There's physical, and a word that's going to annoy me, chemical. because technically everything's chemicals, right?
Yes.
And so, like, even the physical
that would
one
be
is
your
bad branding.
That would be your podcast.
Yeah.
But anyway, everything is chemicals.
I think it already exists.
But it's just
actually.
MJ reading a list. Cucumbers.
Chemicals.
Dogs.
Spiky.
Chemicals. Also chemicals.
Spiky chemicals.
Oh,
Peppers. Spicy chemicals. Okay.
This is a poetry slam situation.
Oh, I can see it. I see it.
And then at the end, we're all like,
So physical sunscreens, also known as mineral sunscreens, they're like a literal barrier. They sit on the surface of your skin. They reflect the sun's rays. They have active ingredients including zinc oxide or titanium dioxide. They're considered safer for you and the environment, apparently. And they're also best for people with sensitive skin, for children, and those with pigment concerns such as melasma. Now, mineral sunscreens leave a white residue on your skin, but more recently there are tinted and less visible ones that have become available on the market. Compared to what I always think of with sunscreen, which is the quote-unquote chemical sunscreen that you slather on and it fades out to invisible. And these work by actually absorbing that UV light and turning it into heat. You've got different chemicals that will absorb different wavelengths of UV light. They're oxybenzone, avobenzone, octylsalate, octocrylene,
We're getting into
homosalate.
the weird part of the chemistry.
The important thing is,
this is why I stopped being a chemistry major.
The names get insane.
yes. Although when you learn how they're all named, and it's actually really cool. It's like learning
the
a
rules are
language.
cool. Yeah.
When you
It is
see
like
it, and you're like,
learning a
oh, I
language,
actually, just from looking at it, understand what that is.
I know
It's
what it is.
very cool.
I mean, medical is the same, and like a lot of that is very much like, oh, I now can break down these words into what exactly is
Roots.
this is.
Mm-hmm. So, we get this combination of chemicals that will absorb different wavelengths, right? Like oxybenzone primarily absorbs UVB and then some UVA. So you pair it with another chemical and you put all this in a slurry of paste that you rub on your skin. And then we determine the sun protection factor. And I think this is a common cause of misconceptions. Does anybody want to take a crack at defining SPF?
I looked this up a while
Sun
ago.
protection factor.
It's a ratio.
Yes.
And there's a reason why everyone don't know what it means, but it's technically a ratio.
no.
It's not like a number. It's a proportion, essentially. But I forgot. It's been too long. I don't know.
So the way they calculate it is they basically say, all right, if you put this sunscreen on, how long would it take you to get the same amount of damage if you didn't have the sunscreen on?
Comparison. Yeah. Relative.
Right. So say it would take you 10 minutes for your skin to turn a little pink, what's known as erythema. If you put on some sunscreen and it would take 300 minutes, that's 30 times as long, so that's SPF 30.
Okay.
So it multiplies by your sunburn, your personal sunburn.
Right. The amount of damage
I mean,
you take.
30 is pretty good. SPF 30 is pretty good then. 30 times?
Yeah, you'd think so, right? You'd think, actually, probably a lot longer than you'd ever really need, because
That's true.
we're told all the time that you should be reapplying sunscreen every 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what gives? Why do I have to reapply it every 2 hours?
Yeah.
Big sunscreen out here trying to sell more
Yeah.
sunscreen.
It's sweat.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah, that's basically
Yeah, we
it.
do squirt water out
That's-
of our pores all the
Yep.
time.
You basically got it. By the way, while we're on it with SPF and the difference between SPF 30 and SPF 1 million,
Right.
turns out not a huge difference, right? No sunscreen blocks all of the sun, 100% of the UV light. SPF 100 blocks 1 to 2% more of the sun's rays than SPF 30, which is already blocking 97% of the sun's rays. So
I imagine it's sort of like one of those curves that hits an asymptote very quickly after a certain point.
yeah, right.
Flattens out.
Yeah. They're like physically blocking the sun's rays in some cases. As you said, there's the physical and the chemical.
But a thing to consider too is every person's different, right? And if you're a lot fairer skin, then maybe even a little bit more sun exposure could do more damage. And so you would want that higher SPF number. A lot of it comes down to
Or
the
where you
individual.
are on the
Where you
planet.
are on the planet, time
if
of
you're,
day,
if
time
you're
of
very
year.
far north,
Yeah.
if I'm on the beach in northern Michigan versus the beach in, I don't know, near the equator
Very
somewhere
different.
in northern Brazil, Like, there's going to be a very different experience.
How much you
of the
sweat.
sun.
Probably a big one.
And what you're doing, right? Like it's sweating, sure. Or if you go swimming and you come out and you towel off, you're rubbing a lot of that chemical sunscreen off of you. And then you need
Onto
to
your
apply it
towel.
again. So maybe, you only put it on 40 minutes ago. Now you got to go and apply it again, right? So the 2-hour rule is not hard and fast by any means. It's just, be careful with your skin and apply it actually as needed and possibly even way more regularly.
Good guidance in general.
Yeah. So I started looking to see if anybody has attempted to make somehow a permanent sunscreen.
But it says great. Okay.
And this is the one kind of article I found in that direction.
Oh my God, it exists.
Apparently, although I'm kind of, I major asterisks next to it. But some researchers at Binghamton University in New York took a liquid solution of DNA and then they smeared it on a piece of glass to create a film. And then they shined UV light at it to see how much it would protect from it, how long it would last, that sort of thing. Here's the thing about the specific DNA that they used. Any guesses where it might have come from?
Where? Okay, easy to acquire DNA. I'm thinking plants. I'm thinking fruit flies. Easy. What? How else do you get DNA? I'm trying to think.
Nope. A liquid solution of DNA.
No way. No way. Oh, that's gross.
Yes.
No.
Yes, they used salmon sperm.
Okay, at least not a human sperm.
Okay, I thought it would be poop.
The researcher was quoted as saying, "It's just one of the readily available DNA sources."
Salmon sperm?
Yeah.
It's the readily available DNA source?
Apparently, if you're just trying to, if you're like, look, I need a lot of DNA to smear all over this glass plate,
Whatever. We're moving on.
Anyway, so apparently it can be other, sources of DNA, but if you're in a pinch, off a salmon, I guess. So.
Whoa.
This episode rated explicit.
Okay, so the DNA film, though, they found that it did not allow up to 90% of UVB light and 20% of UVA light through it. But what's more surprising is it apparently seemed to become more effective. It allowed less light through the longer it was exposed to UV light. They weren't sure why. They think, well, maybe it's got something called hyperchromicity, the increased ability of DNA film to absorb UV light. But then they found that actually what was happening was the DNA was like crisscrossing, and the cross-linking density of the molecules seemed to be going up as it was exposed to more UV light. I guess maybe it was getting all kinky.
Nope, we don't want
Not for our
that.
DNAs.
Not for our DNAs.
But the DNA on our skin, the salmon sperm that we just smeared on there,
The DNA
that's
on
pretty
our skin.
kinky. That's already pretty kinky.
Sure.
Pretty kinky.
But when they looked at it under the microscope, they found that crystalline structure got denser, they got more cross links, and maybe that's why it's not letting as much light through. And they found also that when they coated this film on human skin samples that they got from elective surgeries, that it helped the skin stay moisturized. So bonus with the salmon jizz. But here's the thing. When I saw the headline, it was like, oh, DNA sunscreen. I'm like, oh, are we going to go a GMO route? Which, there's ethical considerations to try that on humans. But But I mean, also, I feel like that would just mean being darker skinned, right? Just like.
Yeah, a lot of it is probably that.
Yeah. Common misconception, like people with dark skin can still get sunburn and skin damage, but
it's a range.
More.
Yeah.
They are more resistant to the damage from the sun because of the melanin, but they can still burn. Yeah. But if you were to genetically engineer a sunscreen like that for a human, it would just probably be making them darker skinned. Yeah. But this salmon
increased melanin
solution that they've come up with, I think, is still susceptible to all the same issues as the sunscreens that we've talked about, right?
Yeah.
What are you talking about, Julian? Once I've got the salmon sperm rubbed onto my skin for moisturization purposes,
formed a crusty layer.
I'm good. I'm fine. I'm never going to wipe that off.
I don't want to take it off. I'm going to hop in the public pool with it
I'm
on.
gonna hop right in the pool. I'm gonna sit in that warm, bubbly hot tub.
I do fear that you've given some like wellness guru like a terrible idea.
Oh,
No.
Someone's gonna try
I
to
hope
sell
not.
this, Julian.
Please, no, please.
Yeah.
Nope. We gotta delete
Yeah,
this
we
whole
will.
episode.
We can't let it escape. Vault it. Put it away.
Oh man.
But yeah, in terms of like permanent sunscreen, the real issue is that we sweat, and we slew off those skin cells that it's sitting on top of anyway, and we rub it off and we go in the water. You're always just going to have to reapply it.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, so long as all these things still work the same way and you're not caked in a permanent layer of salmon jizz. You're just going to have to reapply every 2 hours or fewer.
I think you would end up being kicked out of the fucking
Yeah.
pool and you're off the beach. If you just you pull a salmon out of your bag and you just squeeze it like a
So
toothpaste
they can rub
tube.
chemicals all over themselves, but I'm over here a sturgeon. Suddenly I'm the weirdo.
Oh my god. Someone's gonna try to sell
Wow.
this. I can see it.
I can see it already. I can see it. Oh no.
No
Have we
guilt
done?
milk.
Well, you've done it, audience and MJ. You've made it to the end of yet another very absurd episode of our show.
What a weird combination of 3 questions.
that's how we like it.
Yeah.
We like them to
That
be
is
as
how we like it.
diametrically unrelated as possible.
Yeah. Dang.
MJ, before we wrap up, everybody knows the name of your podcast, Everything is Public Health.
Everything is public health.
Can you tell people where they could find you if they want to follow you on social or find your podcast, etc.?
Sure. Thank you so much. So you can find it at Everything is Public Health pretty much everywhere. We have a Patreon page. We have a Buzzsprout page, which currently is our website. I'm trying to get a website up and running, but it turns out kind of hard to get a website up and running. So I'm trying my best, but you can find us on Blue Sky, Mastodon, Threads, and Instagram. Everything at Public Health is the handle for all of those. So thank you so much. I had a wonderful
Yeah, thanks for
time
being
and
here.
got a little heated about the colors, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, it was nice having you, except for that first part.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'm back again sometime. We'll see.
Thank you to everyone at home or wherever you are for listening to this episode of That's Absurd, Please Elaborate. Our show was created and written and produced by Julian Huguet.
And Trace Dominguez.
It was also produced and edited by the wonderful and absolutely definitely salmon-like Kyle Sisk.
Our source of
drag Kyle
permanent
into this.
sunscreen. Kyle's
Kyle doesn't know what's going on.
A permanent sunscreen.
didn't ask for this. He's a
didn't.
nice guy. A special thanks to listeners who submitted questions featured in this episode. MJ, our guest, of course, Anna and Liza. If you would like to submit a question, you can look for the form down in our show notes, or you can email us at hello@that'sabsurdshow.com. You can visit our website, That's Absurd Show. Science, that'sabsurdshow.com/ask.
Science.
Or you can call us Science at 302 Tape Show. That's TAPESHO.
Special thanks to our new Patreon subscribers, Max, Theo, and Caitlin. And a shout out to our absurd administrators, Les, Adam, and Austin. If you haven't joined our Patreon and you would like to, please go down into the show notes and do that. You can also go to our website. You know what? You could just send us a message on social media and we'll send you the link. Whatever. Just come and join us and hang out with our patrons and vote on questions that we will answer here on the show.
And by the time this will air, I'm going to upload that Batman interview that Budget Batman did with Jasmine as well. So that'll be
True.
up there too. You can leave us a review wherever you're listening. They tell us how we're doing. They tell other people also how we're doing, and it helps us find the show. So, stars, hearts, angry comments about the correct folder color, whatever
English
it
is
may
red.
be.
English is red.
If you have a weird question that you want to send us that we can answer here on the show, please send it to us. Again, form down in the show notes. You can send us an email just like Julian said earlier. But now a special thanks as well to those listening on Nebula. Nebula listeners get access to episodes a little bit early sometimes, also always ad-free, even though the public feed currently is also ad-free. Yes, I'm getting your emails saying that you're not hearing our ads. We don't have any.
Yet. One day, we're going to have so many ads.
If you want to support the show, and maybe you're already a Patreon member, or maybe you don't want to be, but you could go and join Nebula, and that would directly support our show if you use our link to join. You would get a discount on an annual membership. It is like $3 a month for a year if you were to join that route. Either way, Nebula is really great. There's lots of different content on there. We just launched a new season of Jetlag. I went to the premiere last night. It was really fun. We've got a new original show called Abolish Everything, which is so funny. It's really, really good. And I think maybe we abolish folder colors. Maybe that'll be a thing ever on the show. Anyway,
abolish colors.
Abolish all color. Anyway, if you want to join Nebula, go down into the show notes. There's a link there. Or you can go to nebula.tv/that'sabsurdshow. You can also go to our website, that'sabsurdshow.com/nebula, and it'll link you right there. Finally, as we say at the end of every episode of That's Absurd, please elaborate. Don't kink shame DNA. But it should always be vanilla, definitely.
Kinkiness, it's in your DNA.
For safety reasons.
Remember to reapply the salmon sperm at least every 2 hours.
No, every hour. Definitely every hour.
As we say at the end of every episode, everything is public health.
Everything is public health.
As we say at the end of every episode, all folders should be Lisa Frank style. Especially, and you're going to love this, mathological creatures. Like the unicorn, it's for 1, of course, and the centaur for 100. This is mythological creatures are definitely math. And the 9-headed bird, I googled it. It's a mythological creature from China. Math
is blue.
Dang it!